Welcome back now to our next conversation. According to a new charter launch, more than 15 million decent jobs must be created for Africa by 2025 if governments are to be serious about making a dent in its unemployment crisis, with Africa's population expected to double, reach 2.5 billion people by 2050. Africa's jobless youth risks casting a shadow over its economic growth. Well, joining us now is Stanley Achonu, Nigeria country director, The One campaign. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me, Ladi.
Yeah, so quite a big target there, 15 million jobs annually in Africa. What needs to be done to achieve this?
So, Ladi, first, we need to sort of understand the kind of challenge and crisis that we face on the continent. Before the pandemic, according to the Africa Development Bank, Africa needed between 10 to 12 million jobs annually to cater to the very huge population of young people that we have. Unfortunately, we're only able to create 3 million jobs, leaving a very large population of our citizens on the continent unemployed or underemployed. And this poses a huge risk, security challenge. There's a research from the University of Sussex that showed that there is a link between the insecurity we face on the continent to the amount of jobless people we have amongst our young population. So we need to find ways to harness this our young population to be able to even make a dent or even sort of begin to tackle this challenge. Africa, the governments on the continent need to target a minimum of 15 million jobs annually. And this is a tall order, considering that we're currently doing 3 to 4 million jobs annually. So this is threefold increase that they need to tackle on. And to be able to do this, there are specific areas after consultation with our partners, spent 3 months talking to different stakeholders. We have concluded that there are key areas that government needs to start to invest in: manufacturing, agriculture. The creative industry is already booming. And the tech scene is also very low. Entry margin is required for young people to get into it. So there are specific things that government can do to take advantage of these opportunities. And sometimes these things that government need to do doesn't only require investment. It just takes them to lift certain barriers to entry, changing new laws, simplifying processes that allow young people to thrive, making funding and liquidity available, making loans available to young people to be. We're already very creative on the continent. So there are just very, simple things that government can do to help young people on the continent to create the jobs that we want or support our existing private sector to expand. One key area we think that government needs to do more is implementation of the Continental Free Trade Area that has been signed in. There are still a lot of barriers and impediments to full implementation of this trade agreement, but it holds the most opportunity and potential for people on the continent. And I think that if the African heads of government meetings under the African Union government put more teeth to some of the things that the trade agreement outlined, we'll be on our way to meeting these targets.
Quite interesting, quite interesting. But talking about the campaign, launched by The One, how's that going to go?
So, like I mentioned, we are in about 7 countries where we have consulted and spoken to stakeholders. In those countries, we spoke to both in and out of government, state and non-state actors to identify specific areas in those markets that can drive growth. So, for instance, in Nigeria, our tech and creative sector is thriving, is employing a large number of people. So, how do we expand opportunities using the Africa Continental Trade Agreement to expand opportunities for those already in the sector to expand the level of work they're already doing? Our movie, our music is already taking on the world. Our fashion is also taking on the world and is already creating opportunities. So what can government do to open up the space for people to export this creativity to other countries? Once I had a friend from Kenya visit Nigeria, and one of the things he said was, "Stanley, I want a Nigerian suit." And when I say Nigerian suit, I don't mean the suit as we know it. It's the Nigerian traditional wear as we see it. And in 24 hours, we were able to do a turnaround and get the person a fit traditional wear. And I got feedback saying, oh, I wore this to a wedding and I stole the show from the couple, you know.
Wow.
So there is a huge opportunity for our creative industry in Nigeria as an example. Imagine what it will mean for our textile and our fashion industry to be able to take on the whole of the African continent and be able to manufacture here and ship to any part of the continent. That intertrade area is one easy area where we can begin to expand and sort of create more jobs. So once there is more demand for our fashion industry, it means that more people will be employed. And I can also imagine other countries, South Africa, Kenya. Kenya has a very big tech scene, and there are skills that other countries and and even beyond the continent can use. When we were doing consultation for this campaign, I was speaking to someone in the tech industry, and the person said, Stanley, before now, when it comes to online jobs, Nigeria had a very bad reputation. But post-pandemic, there's a huge demand for Nigerian engineers, tech engineers, software developers, data analysts, that there is a huge demand and that he's getting more requests for Nigerian talent than he can actually supply to the market outside of the continent. So imagine what it would take to upskill more people to do remote jobs for companies based outside of the continent. The foreign exchange will end, the opportunities that it creates for people to build skills and all of that. So those are the kind of little areas that we're saying government needs to sort of take out barriers that prevent people from being creative. And we're not saying government create jobs because, sometimes these jobs created by government are not sustainable. So that's why we're very clear in our charter to say, look, we need government to take out barriers to entry that allows private sector to thrive. And it's only private sector that can create sustainable jobs that can give people decent living.
Quite a lot to export from the African continent. Thank you so much, Stanley Achonu, Country Director, The One Campaign. It was great having you on the program.
Thank you for having me, Elijah.